Application, Coffee Shop LLC, doing business as UpperWest, has applied for a new general on-premise all alcoholic beverages license to be exercised at 1 Cedar Street with proposed hours of 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. 7 days per week, with a seating capacity of 36. Kimberly Courtney is manager of record. Premise described as basement level with 2 rooms, including kitchen, 2 egresses, approximately 1,140 square feet. Applications are also made for a common victualler license, an entertainment license, for darts, reading of poetry or other works, live musical instruments, and/or vocalists without amplification, radio, audio tape machine, CD, computerized digital media that can be played below conversation level, and 2 TVs.
Good morning. Could you please state and spell your names for the record?
Sure. These are petition, these are letters. Letters of support. And this is an extra copy.
And then,
Sure. Kim Courtney, C-O-U-R-T-N-E-Y.
Xavier Dietrich, D-I-E-T-R-I-C-H.
thank you. Before we start, can I put B or can you put B here on the CV? Because you have it on all the other ones. And I know it's on the description, but. Thank you. And why don't you tell us about what UpperWest is and the public need for this license at this location, please?
So this is a food-focused space. We refer to it as a community food hub. It offers those in the food industry a space to share their creativity and excitement about food and beverages. And it offers the public a space to enjoy those things. Our plan is to offer cooking classes, cooking demonstrations and tastings, chef dinners, and food-focused seminars. In regards to public need, we've had an outpouring of support from the local neighbors and the community. We have 73 letters of support that we've given to you, as well as 294 signatures on the petition. And lots of incredible comments and suggestions. People are very excited about the concept.
So basically, you guys, so is it when you say that you're going to offer cooking classes, is that going to be offered through you, or are you bringing in different chefs different times and doing different? I'm a little. Okay. Okay. So, and also when you talked about creativity about food, is it that people are going to come in and you're going to explore stuff? I'm just wondering what the business concept is.
Sometimes it's a mere demonstration. For example, a chef may want to do a demonstration on how to make mozzarella. So he'll boil the water and show the people standing there watching how to make mozzarella. They may not consume it at all in that instance. Or the chef may prepare something in front of them and serve to them and have them eat it as well.
And then regardless of who will be kind of like the featured person, this would be all through you guys, so that you're serving the alcohol, you're...
Correct.
Okay.
We're completely controlling the space, all elements of it. You could think of it, I guess, compare it to something like a music venue that has different artists come in and sing on different nights, but they're still controlling the premises.
And then, so this one is a general on-premise, but you've also applied for a common victualler.
Right.
So my question is, not the Section 12 restaurants, so that it doesn't kick in the 51-49% type issue of the law when you have a restaurant license?
Can you repeat that? I'm not understanding your question.
So I'm wondering, because since you're applying for a CV,
Right.
and also to serve alcohol, I'm wondering why the general on-premise
With the CV?
With the CV.
Why the CV? I think what we've been kind of discussing is, I didn't know if we needed it or not. I think we probably don't, because we're not generally, I mean, these are usually events that are sort of prearranged like reservation, by reservation. But then, so it wasn't clear to me whether we needed it, so I applied for it.
Okay, let's do this. Are you gonna be, whenever you're open, are you gonna be serving food the day that you're open?
Yes, most likely,
Okay.
unless it's a whiskey tasting and they're just having a whiskey tasting. It's possible that there's an event that involves alcohol that might, but generally speaking, there's always, yeah.
Okay. Okay, because I thought that maybe the reason why it's a general on-premise with a CV is that if you apply for a Section 12 restaurant license, then that portion of 138 kicks in, that you have to show that the proceeds, the 51% is food, or that the majority.
I
Yeah.
believe that that's only in your local rule.
No, it's also in the statute.
It's in chapter 138?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't have any problem with that requirement, but,
No, that's fine. I'm trying to
I just
mirror
wanted to
the-
make sure we could be open and accessible to the public so that, some events would be through reservations, but I also wanted to make sure that if we had space in an event, that someone could just walk in and not have to necessarily have a prearranged reservation. So that was my rationale for applying for the CV, and you can tell me whether that makes sense or not,
Well, no, the only thing that, for you to know is that if you do have a CV, it means that you always, when you're open, you have to have some type of food
Okay.
available
Okay.
for the people that come in. Now,
And if we didn't have a CV, could we allow people to walk in off the street without a reservation? That's the question.
well, yes, but then the issue is if you are serving food, then you need a CV.
Oh, if you're ever serving food.
Yeah.
So there's no GOP without a CV then?
No, there are GOPs that just serve alcohol, that
Oh,
they don't serve
As
any
soon as
food.
you, okay.
Yeah.
So we need the CV then?
Yeah, that was my question. If you're gonna have food,
Definitely, it's food.
Okay.
Food is the primary focus.
okay.
So it's all about the food. I mean, the alcohol is a complement, but it's a necessary element. But it's primarily about the food.
Yes. No, the general on premises, if when they don't have a CV, it's just, they're like
I see.
nightclubs.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And then I see here that you're proposing 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 12 a.m.
Right, because there could be, we could have a children's cooking class at 10 a.m. on Saturday,
But you know that the alcohol would not be able to be served at 7 a.m.
Right, I'm not sure, I think it's 10 or something. Yeah.
So there would be,
I can't imagine a need to serve alcohol that early, so.
I can't
it's
imagine
not-
a need either.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're not gonna have a wine tasting at 10 a.m., so,
certainly.
or 8 a.m.
And then the entertainment. Oh, the other question I had, where does your 12C reside?
In the kitchen,
Okay.
only.
So are you going to have the alcohol from your 12C in some type of enclosed?
We have
So
a
that it
separate
doesn't
closet.
commingle?
We have a separate closet where it's contained.
Okay.
Separate from everything else.
And Ms. Courtney, I note for the record that you're the proposed manager of record, is that correct?
Yes.
And I do note for the record that you're currently the manager of record on your 12C license and have had no disciplinary issues with the ABCC, correct?
Correct.
And are you familiar with the rules and regulations of this board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts with regard to sale and service of alcohol?
Yes.
And do you understand that we expect you to stay up to date with those rules, laws, and regulations? Are you still a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Questions?
I don't have an issue with the space that they're going into downstairs, but at this time, I'm not going to vote on this until such time as we get the building owner, the UAV, to come back with a corrective action, because we have occupancy issues with that building.
Can you please tell me what the law is that you're relying upon to say that the building, the entire structure can only be 99?
99 capacity because it has no sprinkler system.
So what law are you referring to that requires that?
It's Mass Law 26 and 1/2.
26G and a half? Right, so that section actually doesn't apply to their organization because they're not a public assembly organization. They're a private club.
It applies to all private clubs.
And also the rule would be under 3,000, under 300 people. They're under 5,000 square feet. Under 300.
The building is almost 7,700 square feet.
That's incorrect, actually. That's what's in your records, but it's incorrect. That's the entire property, including the parking lot. So they actually don't fall under the statute, which I've already sat down and talked to Ranjit about. He's aware of that fact, so is David Burns. That the building, this section doesn't even, they're not required to put in sprinklers according to law.
They aren't.
I'm sorry?
They are.
They are according to what?
Under the mass laws, they are required to.
Under this section, it doesn't apply to them.
It does apply.
Okay, you can say that it does, but.
Have you spoken to the owners of the premises since their inspection yesterday?
I have, but in regards to what?
To the inspection and what they discussed with the fire and ISD?
Oh, we were present.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was no mention of any issues when we were inspection. Again, they're under 5,000 square feet, they're under 300 occupancy, they're not a public assembly space, they do not fall under section 26G and a half of chapter 148. So I don't think there are any issues. Again, I've discussed this with Ranjit and David Burns. We sat down, I explained the law to them. We're not in a position to have any delays in our application. We'd like for it to be voted on today. We don't see any issues. We have occupancy clearly stated at 50 downstairs. We're asking for only 36 seats with the potential capacity of 50, obviously. And that shouldn't impact any discussions you may have with them. So we need to proceed with our hearing today.
I'm not prepared to vote on it today.
Okay?
There is no fire alarm system in the building whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's stuff that gets taken care of for our purposes. That would be something that would be taken care of after a hearing for a liquor license. That's not something that you put in before a liquor license hearing. So we can discuss any type of fire issue post-hearing, which is how this usually goes, as you know.
No, it doesn't usually go that way. Fire alarm systems and inspections are done prior
You
to.
don't require a premises that's not open to install fire alarms prior to going in for a liquor license hearing. You could go in with a letter of intent. You don't even need a lease to have a hearing, as you know.
The problem we have here is what the occupancy is going to be. My feeling is just to delay and get the owner to explain to us what their remediation is going to be and how we can move forward. And
There's no remediation for something that isn't legally required.
That's your
There's
opinion.
legal terms for that I will not say out loud. But if you're going to have them try to negotiate down their occupancy based on something, a law that doesn't apply to them, then that makes no sense.
Any questions?
I do have one question regarding the hours of operation and the serving of food. So would the opening be tied to events that are going to be offered, or is it going to vary, or what's your?
It'll
how's that
vary
gonna work?
depending on the event.
So you wouldn't necessarily be open every day at 7 a.m.?
Right. Like I said, like you can compare it to a comedy club, a music venue. They have events all the time, and they're not necessarily open unless there's an event happening. Club Kasim, they have vocalists come in and sing all the time, and they may start at 6 o'clock one day, and they may start at 7 o'clock another day. It's very common practice.
I'm wondering with our current rule with regard to the posting of hours, whether we need a more firm, I mean, I think the 7 a.m., well, definitely for Sunday, so 7 a.m. to midnight is the range that you want to be in?
Right. I mean, the 7 a.m., I'm not expecting to be open that early. It's just in case, again, like there's some sort of event, if there's a children's cooking class or something that we want to do. I don't want to limit our business options.
So I'm wondering if it's better for, in terms of hours, for you to say, this is generally what we expect for hours of operation, and then if you do have an event, like for example, an earlier, then you ask for a one-day extension of hours that day. So for example, if generally you think that your business will be open, I'm just going to say 10 a.m., that you say, we want 10 a.m. to midnight, and then say, you know, and then if, I don't know, if September 31st you decide to do something, say, can I have an extension of hours for September 31st? Because the thing is that the way our rules read currently, and I think the proposed rules, and I have to go back because they're all like meshed in my head right now, the hours of operation are what is expected, and if that's what the public expects, then you're expected to be open during those hours. And we've had that issue come up in other hearings where we've told licensees, you know, if you're going to be closed, let's say on Tuesdays, you definitely have to say that. You can't say, you know, 7 days a week in that.
Right. Well, first I would respectfully like to note that in my personal opinion, the current regulations, the current liquor license regulations are not legally valid, as they were not approved by the city council. So I don't even believe that body of rules is even legitimate to refer to. That being said, in the last hearing, you did actually grant somebody 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week when he said they were only planning on being open on the weekends, and they may possibly want to do weekdays later on, so they asked for everything.
I think it was the other way around. I think they were only open in weekdays, and they may possibly come during the weekends, so we didn't grant them the weekends until they decide to come back.
Maybe I misunderstood.
And then, with all due respect, I think I may have a bigger issue with the statement that you're saying that our rules are not valid. It's very clear that the License Commission's position is that our rules are valid, and if you are granted a license, you are expected to abide by them.
Sure, I have no problem complying with the rules as they're written. It's just my personal legal opinion as an attorney, as you know, that those rules are required under the planning charter to be approved by the city council. And that has never happened to my knowledge. No one has ever been able to show me that they have been approved.
Well, under 138 section 23, we have the authority to set rules. My issue is, and I want it very clear for the record, that if you are granted a license, you understand that we expect you to comply with those rules and
Sure, we already
regulations.
discussed that. I already said that I was fine with that. Yeah, I'm having a legal discussion now.
Any other questions?
No.
I'd also just like to note that this is this application is for a value transferable license.
Anyone in favor of this petition? Anyone in opposition to this petition? Okay. Based on the issues brought up with the UAV and the chief's recommendations with regard to making sure that everything's all squared away in terms of the building, I would vote to defer this matter.
May I interject for a moment, please?
I would agree with that. I think I'm concerned with the issues raised by the fire department. I think I do like the concept, and I think it's pretty unique, but I will defer pending action with respect to the fire department concerns.
Yes.
So we have legal occupancy, and that has not been revoked. So I don't understand how you could not vote on the matter in regards to something that hasn't happened. There has been no letter issued by anyone revoking any occupancy. We have 50 occupancy in the basement, and, you know, that is just a fact. So I'm very concerned about continued delays that have taken place with our application by the city. And this is, you know, in my opinion, this needs to be voted on.
Ms. Courtney, with all due respect, I would usually not take comment when we're voting, but since this is a different scenario in terms of how we vote on applications rather than at a separate hearing, I will say that the commission does have a right to defer matters when it finds a public need, and I think the fact that we're deferring shows that we found a public need for your application. If we were inclined to decline this, we would have done so right now and immediately. We are able, under Chapter 138, to defer our decision, and we have 30 days to take action on the matter. I don't think it will take 30 days based on what Mr. Murphy stated in his hearing earlier than yours. I am respectful to the commissioners, to fire chief's concerns, as I am to yours, but the fire chief has raised some very specific concerns, and part of our duty and job is public need, but also public safety and common good. And the complaints, or not the complaints, but rather the issues that the fire chief has expressed are very serious ones, and in terms of public safety, and I think we're all committed to that. So I think deferring the matter, which is what we've done, is what we will continue to do, and we will respectfully take your statement.
I understand, but just for the record, you know, this would never be the way any other matter would be handled. If there's fire pull downs that need to be put in or whatever, then that would be something that we would take care of after the liquor license was issued, as you
Ms.
know.
Courtney, no, the liquor license cannot be issued before any of these things are resolved.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry,
not.
let me finish.
There are places that have nothing in
excuse
them.
me, this is not a deliberation where we go back and forth. This is our vote, and you're more than welcome to stay and listen to it. You will not be debating it. But with all due respect, you have attended many of our hearings, and you have seen how the fire chief for a patio raised a similar issue in terms of fire lanes, and we deferred that matter before the license was issued. And the same we're doing here. So with all due respect, this hearing is over, and you can put, yes.
We've also seen you grant licenses to places with just a letter of intent that were completely empty. There was nothing in them.
Common victualler licenses.
No.
Listen,
Liquor licenses.
listen.
We've seen that.
This is not a debate. The point is that the fire chief has raised some very serious concerns. We will defer this matter, and that's our vote. Thank you. Next matter.